Well, hello, Viking football fans, and welcome to this edition of the Billy Skinner Lamar Viking Football Coaches Show. I'm Bill Frawley, and with me, of course, as always, head Viking football coach and Lamar High School athletic director Billy Skinner. Coach, how are you today?
I'm good. We're starting a new season now, so just beginning the prepping for that, and so we came off of a long weekend, so I've been anxious to get back into the office.
Well, sounds good. Sounds good. Hey, how about if we talk about last week? But let's start, if it's okay, with that freshman Navy team. I got to announce both the freshman games, and my goodness gracious, what some exciting football there was. And oh my gosh, I cannot believe the players that are performing like that at freshman levels.
Yeah, no doubt. No, it was a great game. Definitely have to tip our cap to SGP's freshmen because they were. You talk about just a scrappy group. They could play some football. It was back and forth all the way till the very end, and so it was great for our kids. I'm glad they reached their goal of 10-0. I'm glad they reached their goal of district champions, but I'm more glad that they had to do it while facing adversity, and they had to do it where they go back and forth, and they were up, and then they were down, and then they were up. It just kind of goes to show who those kids are, and they didn't flinch. And so that was the coolest thing, to be on the sideline and to see them face adversity face first and not flinch.
You make a really good point, because I don't know if it sounds silly to say, but it would have been one thing if it was just an easy whitewash finish last game and boom, there it is. But you're right, they did have to keep fighting the VFND spirit and make it all the way to the end, come back from being behind, and never give up and show some restraint, all that stuff.
No doubt. And as a coach, their previous 4 weeks, 5 weeks, they had really been extremely dominant. And so to be able to turn it on and be ready for such a competitive game and be ready not to fold, because after you kick butt for 4 weeks, you kind of get this air of confidence that it's just supposed to go our way. And so when it wasn't going our way, our kids were okay. Let's double down on the work. Let's double down on the win the day, and they win each rep, and it showed up. So it was really cool.
Sure enough. Well, talk to us a little bit about the JV team and their season and how they finished out.
Man, so same thing. They played very, very close. Had an opportunity to win it at the end of the game. Came up just a little bit short, but I've got to tip my cap to Coach Wiggins and Coach O. Those two guys took those teams, really, really worked really hard throughout the week. And each week they were met with new challenges. Each week, hey, we're going to move this kid from the JV to the varsity, or we're going to do this, or we're going to shuffle this kid around. And neither one of them complained. It was always, okay, that's what's next for us. And so the fact that they competed how they competed, the fact that our kids on those groups, man, they have grown. Like a lot of those kids are going to play varsity football next year and are going to be ready because of what they did this season. And so they competed really, really hard. They won way more games than we won last year. I think we won 3 this year, which after going winless last year, that's a massive deal. After only having one team last year and having 2 teams for the entire season this year, that's a massive deal. So I'm very, very proud of that JV group. There's some guys that really we're really excited about. I mean, Camille Pruitt had over 800 yards of receiving. I mean, there was and he had different guys throwing him the ball, and it didn't matter what it looked like. That kid goes up and he attacks the football, and he always comes down with it. Caden Hall is another one that plays running back for that group, that when you don't see something there and it doesn't look like there's a hole, and he comes squirting out on the other side making big plays, that's impressive. And then you got guys like Colton Quesada, who plays that tight end position and is extremely versatile. You can move them outside the core, you can put them on the line, you can do all kinds of different things with him. Plus he can catch the football. Plus he's an incredible baseball player. I mean, the future's bright because guys like that work extremely hard, and guys like that produce very well. So we're excited about that group coming up.
Well, Coach, you said it very well at the very beginning of that discussion, and I don't know how sometimes the coaches do deal with, oh yeah, you can have these two or three for varsity this week, or oh, I get them back this week, or what?
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. Now I've got two teams to handle. Oh wait, this guy's going to be on A team this week and B team or Navy Gold, whatever. And
yeah,
let alone, and the players being flexible also.
right.
Oh wow,
Right.
I get to be on Friday night or Thursday,
Yep.
varsity. Okay, well now I'm back to this, and the flexibility and understanding it's all for the good of the program.
That's it. I mean, what we want to accomplish out of all that is reps. We want our kids to get as many reps as possible. And so the fact that we
Yeah.
had the two teams and the fact that our offensive kids were getting about 50 reps a game and our defensive kids were getting about 60 reps a game. Well, over time, that turns into 500 reps throughout the season and 600 reps throughout the season. Well, you got two teams, and now you've got more kids getting more reps. That's how you build the program, and that's how you get kids ready to go for next year. So it's really cool. And as you're going through it, as you're going through that season, you don't necessarily get to take those blinders off and look at the big picture. But when it's over and you look back, you're like, holy crap, we've got a lot of kids, a lot of reps this year.
Well, and I hope parents, grandparents, caregivers, everyone, fans, players all realize when you guys are making phone calls on Sundays, okay, who do you have? Can you have a free game this week, or no one who has one team or two teams going?
Mhm.
I mean, that's amazing. Speaking of getting the number of reps, very few games overall did either freshman or JV team have to sit for that week, because, and even when they did, y'all are still making the calls. That doesn't mean y'all didn't try.
Right. No, absolutely. We want to get those kids games and whatever that looks like for the coaching staff, because that's the other thing is we've got to be creative with that. And, I've got to shout out Coach Williamson, and I got to shout out Coach Naharo and Coach Harris, because whenever we do find games, it's normally those guys driving the bus and then getting the kids there, and then we'll coach that gold game, and that way they can get their game. And there's no ego, there's no pride. It's, hey, how can we get our kids opportunities to play football? And so we're always going to stand by that.
Wow, and you just mentioned some more logistics I knew about, I guess, but weren't at the top of my mind. Yeah, now it's extra buses. Oh wow. Fortunately, you have coaches that can drive a bus and CDL and types of things that don't have to depend on, well, can AISD schedule someone last minute or whatever else. So
Yep.
it takes a lot of effort and a lot of coordination. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the varsity team. And my goodness gracious, I'll use this saying up in the booth on the broadcast sometimes. Hey, we're going to sell you the whole seat, but you're only going to use the edge. And you know, I don't know the best way to put it, whether it's saying there's some moral victories, quality, almost wins, but the program is on the cusp. I mean, and it's so, and that's when I said cusp, it's CUSP. I want to make sure cusp,
Oh yeah.
not cuss. But my goodness, the improvement over the last 3 years. And again, it's not just at varsity, it's all of them, but talk to us a little bit about last week, and let's discuss, the progress at the varsity level as part of that whole program.
Yeah. So I mean, big picture, we needed to win that game. We needed to win it by 14 if we wanted a coin flip with SGP. We needed to win it by 15 if we wanted to get into the playoffs outright. We went in with the mindset as a coaching staff, we want to win the football game. That was first and foremost, because our kids, they earned the right to win last week. They prepped, they worked extremely hard in practice. When a lot of people probably told us, hey, this is an impossible task. You're not going to beat a team that's supposed to be number 2 in our district. You're not going to beat them by 15 points. Our kids never flinched. They never wavered. I mean, they came out ready to prepare each day. And so I don't want that fact to be lost. And then we get into the game, and our kids, they give themselves an opportunity. They have a chance to do that and to execute. But at the end of the day, our kids played really hard. They played really well, and they won a football game against a quality opponent. And I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to feel bad about that. I mean, I'm upset. The biggest thing I get upset about at the end of a year is that's it for my seniors. That's it for those guys. And I see those seniors and I tell them, hey guys, I want one more week with you. That was my message all week long is Cooper Barnard, I want one more week with you. Braylon Sneed, I want another week. Devin Raval, I want one more week with you, buddy. Whatever we got to do, let's get that 1 week together. And so the fact that we came up short from that goal, obviously that's the part that bums me out. I'm proud of our kids. I'm proud of the season that we had. I'm proud of the last 3 games because that was something that I talked to our coaching staff about last year. At the end of the season last year, in those 3 games where they were critical for our playoff push, we ended up losing those games like 115-29 or something like that. Like it was not good. And so this year we talked about a finish, and last week we had an opportunity to get into the playoffs. The week before that, we had an opportunity. We gave ourselves an opportunity to win the football game. And so, again, we're showing the improvement in those things that we wanted to improve on, and that's the finish of a season. And now we've got to really push forward with that finish, and we've got to now start executing and getting that finish. But I tell you what, I've never been more proud of a group. I've never been more proud of a team because they just believed. They believed. They kept the juice. They kept the good mantra all season long, even when things were going bad. I mean, I think what you saw this last week speaks volumes about who these kids are. Because I know there are a lot of people who have been in this position that the teams were just done and they've turned it in and they just played the last game just because it was the last game. And, it was sloppy and there was no execution. That's not who these kids were. They gave everything that they had for one another for one more week. And so, we won. I'm proud of that, but I'm proud of our kids, man. I'm proud of being their coach. And I felt lucky to be their coach.
Well, you're right. They finished the season with the win. Huge, huge accomplishment. Basically, one play short of getting into the playoffs potentially. If they got in the touchdown, still got to go for 2. If. But that's they fought until the end. And Coach, you will always say it. The players, if they win, it's them. If it's not, it's on you guys.
Yeah.
But I want you guys to know y'all are doing an incredible job, all of you coaches, with these young men. And again, I mean it from the heart, and it's how they perform on the field. But I can tell by talking with some of them, exchanging text messages with some of them, they are being prepared for life. And I know that's one of y'all's main goals also, is not just on the field. And Coach, I was walking by at the end of the game, and when I saw Cooper Barnard go up and say, Coach, can I get a picture with you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that means something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure there's others that were coming up and give you hugs. That just happened to be the one I saw. And it was emotional for him and for you. I could tell that really great stuff. So anything else you want to say about you said a lot, and it's all the great stuff. Anything else you want to say before we talk about, okay, what happens in the spring?
No, I mean, the big thing is, I look back now, and luckily I'm blessed to have the wife that I have, because we can talk about, and she normally is able to point to the positives and the sky is not falling. But I look back this year at our program, and I think about where we started when we first got here. And I am so stinking proud of what's being built. And I'm so proud of how it's being built. I feel like as long as we do things our way, which I feel is the right way, I will stand on whatever happens during the season, because I know for a fact we are taking care of our kids. I know for a fact we love our kids, and we are getting them ready for when they leave this place to be good at something other than football. The football piece is great and it's fun and it keeps us all engaged and it puts people in the seats and all of those things. But I know because of my life, what football has done for me, what it can do for others. And so I hope people understand that we're using this game as a tool to grow young men. And so as I look back on this year and I see young men that stuck around after a couple of years of turmoil, or who have stuck around and have struggled for 6 weeks, but they are like, you know what? No, I got to buckle down so I can be here for my teammates. When we see them walk across the stage for graduation, and we see those guys come back to us a couple of years from now to come stand on the sideline and watch a game, and just how proud they are that they were a part of our program, like that's I'm proud of that, man. I'll take that any day.
Well, I'm glad you brought all of that up and about the whole program doing it the right way, because Coach, I'll say from my observation, my perspective is the right word. Y'all are not cutting corners in any way. You know, I know how much emphasis by reading Sports U you put on the gym. I know there's stuff beyond just what's out on Sports U, but get stronger, get better every day. And the academics part, I'm glad you brought that up, because that cannot be overstated enough.
Yeah.
That and I have no idea what the records or statistics are, but I've got to think that at least y'all have been making improvements overall in the emphasis put on athletics, and then the performance in the classroom, because they are student athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell parents this, I start our team meetings like this and our parent meeting like this. If all your kid learns from us is how to tackle, then we've dropped the ball on what we're all about here. And so
no pun intended.
no pun intended, no pun intended. But we are going to always put the emphasis on the person. We're always going to put the emphasis on our people. And yeah, I'm proud of it.
Speaking of this, question popped into my mind because of all this, and I understand you may not want to mention specifics at all, but are there some players who are getting some looks from some college football teams, no matter the level?
Yes. Oh no, we'll have quite a bit of interest. In that senior group, you'll have guys like Cooper Barnard, who's already gotten a few Division III offers. I think he's going to have an opportunity to maybe pull a couple of Division II offers. Guys like Porter Johnson, who had an incredible year at corner. I mean, he was locked down at corner. He's going to have some opportunities to play at the next level. I mean, all of these kids, depending on what you're willing to do, everyone has an opportunity to go play at some level. I mean, you've got such a wide array of football, whether it be Division I, Division II, Division III. You've got NAIA, you've got JUCO schools, you've got prep schools, you've got schools where you can go and not even start your NCAA clock, but get some of those additional reps. And we've had guys like Caleb Phillips, who graduated from here in 2019. He took that path, and now he's playing linebacker at Harvard. So we've got kids who will have opportunities to play past this. And the thing I try to get to them and try to make them understand is, you think you love it now, you better love it when you get to college, because it's no longer, it is fun, but it's not fun. I mean, it is a job.
It's work. It's a job. Yeah.
It's work. I mean, it's waking up at 4:30 to walk to weights and be there on time by 5 a.m., get that done, eat a breakfast by 7, be in a class by 8, go through all of your classes, grab a quick lunch at 12, and then be in your team meeting at 1 o'clock. Then you're in a special teams meeting at 1:30, and then you're in the weight room at 2 o'clock again. And then you're on the field practicing from this time to this time. And then you've got to have dinner, and then you've got to have tutorials, and then you've got to go to bed, and then you got to wake up and do it all again. So, it's there's going to be opportunities. I hope our kids understand, like, that in order to take advantage of those opportunities, you got to be off. You got to be a little crazy to do it.
Well, and what a great opportunity, even if some of those players get offers and don't take them up on them, but just the fact they've had such a successful career, get that chance. And I apologize, I don't know how much my dog Archie was audible just now, but someone apparently was on the premises because he went off and watched dog mode.
That's it. You got to let him know, Archie.
That's it. Hey, Archie, come here, boy. Anyway, but okay, now back to something I'd asked before. What's next? And I said I jumped ahead to the spring. What will y'all do between now and the I still call it Christmas break, holiday break, whatever it officially is, and then into the spring?
Yeah. So this week, some might think this is the boring stuff, but this week is really I think are the secret sauce. We're gonna go through. We'll pick up equipment. That's not the secret sauce. That is boring. But then we're gonna visit with every kid in our program. We have a survey that they fill out, quality assurance survey, I guess you could call it. But then we ask them questions about what do you need from your position coach? What do you need from your head coach to grow and reach these goals? What are your goals for next season? What are your independent goals? What are your team goals? What are you willing to sacrifice to reach these goals? What are you willing to sacrifice to? We ask them, hey, what do you think your role on the team is going to be next year? Why is it going to be that? How are you going to make sure that it is that role? And so we spend this week really sitting down with our players and having those conversations. Position coaches will meet with every single one of them. I'll meet with our seniors and we'll do a senior exit meeting where I ask them and I'm not sensitive. I probably should be more sensitive, but I ask them for the real. I ask them, hey, what do we need to do to improve? What worked your 4 years here? What wasn't great your 4 years here? What do you need from your head coach that you didn't get? Like we're going to ask them those questions. We're going to listen to those guys, and then we're going to see how we can apply that going forward. So that's what this week is. It's really a week of reflection. It's a week of gathering data so that we can use that data to then build our off season, build the developmental piece of it. Obviously, we're going to find very, very heavy things and we're going to move them around the weight room. We're going to lift, we're going to get faster because that's always a huge piece of it. But how we do that, that's going to be determined this week. And we're going to have our kids kind of determine it by their feedback. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited about just kind of getting into the weeds with our kids and seeing how they perceive the program, because all of these things sound good until you sit down with the kids and they're like, hey, no, I feel like you missed the mark on this, or I don't feel like this was made as big of a deal as it needs to be. So it's a great review from our kids that we're going to get this week.
Well, and that's another step in them realizing they have an important say in what's going on. And I know from you and all the coaches you mentioned and ones you didn't mention, y'all are going to take it seriously. But that also gives these players, again, one more sneak peek at what it's like in a job after school, whether or not they go to college, whether or not they go to trade school, whether they go right into the working world. But to realize I can have some meaningful input as I help in a performance evaluation type thing or exit interview type thing. So that's really cool. Y'all are going to do that and take that to heart. So
no doubt.
Okay. So what happens in the spring?
So again, we'll discuss with our kids to determine will we be a spring ball team? Will we do similar to what we did last year? But I'm guessing we will have a same setup as we had last year, where we do a lot of spring ball style activities during the athletic period. And we get that extra week in the fall. I think that's going to be big for us. I think us going through that extra scrimmage, it's going to be great, because we're going to have some young guys in some important spots that they'll need all those reps that they can get against a different opponent. And so we're going to be lifting, we're going to be running track, we're going to be playing baseball, we're going to be playing basketball, we're going to be wrestling, we're going to be doing all of those things. And then we'll be working on the details of football. I talked to the coaches this morning, and one of the things I want to make sure we're doing is developing special teams depth starting today.
Okay.
I want to make sure that those kids, they know the techniques that we're working those drills. We're incorporating them into our developmental season stuff. And so, that will be a huge emphasis for us going through the spring, getting us into August, and then just playing catch and blocking people and talking protections and talking how to tackle people and how to get to the football and how to track a football. All of those things we'll be getting into. We'll be getting into football 101, where we talk football at a very, very elementary level, and we try to get them to a college level by the end of the spring. And so we try to break it down as small as possible, and then work our way up like the building blocks of football. So there's a lot of exciting, fun things that we'll do during our off season that will get us ready to go for next August.
All right. Any final kudos shout outs to the Booster Club and anyone else you want to mention?
I've got a couple. One, I always want to shout out our booster club. Garrett Carey, Shannon Carey, Eris Jackson, Charlie Jackson. They were our presidents this year. And I mean, you can ask for better people to work around, and you got guys like J.R. Walker around the program who, I mean, no questions asked. He's going to be here. He's going to be ready to roll. Jeremy Austin is another one of those that just anything you need, he's here to help take care of the program. Lori Ford is another one. Tabitha Reyna stepped in as our secretary this year. And I mean, I don't know if I've ever met a more organized human. Like, I feel like I'm a better football coach sitting in meetings with her.
Rise up to her standards, right?
I'm telling you. There's so many great people that we were blessed to work with. The Duncans, they organize all the coaches' meals, and that was we were always well fed on Sundays. We always had great lunches. Amy Boyer took care of all of our team meals this year and made sure that our kids had food for our team feeds, and we were able to feed multiple teams, which is not done around a lot of places in Texas, but we definitely make that an emphasis for us that we're going to do team feeds for our freshmen and our JV and our varsity. So having those people in place. Crystal Barnard, she did all of our fancy graphics this year. And man, you talk about a huge load off of my plate. I mean, that was big because I normally would do our graphics, and then I saw her work, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I don't have to do it, and it's 10 times better than what I do.
Find talented and smarter people than we are, correct?
There's so many people that we're lucky to have a part of our booster club. Tanique Post, who took care of concessions, which that is a huge undertaking, and she always did it with a smile, always had a crew ready to go. We're lucky. So thank you to our booster club. Thank you to our board members for taking care of our kids and taking care of the program. I want to shout out Heather Woodman. Heather, she received the 8-6A Volleyball Coach of the Year award.
Wow, congratulations to Coach Woodman.
Yeah. So very proud of her. Very well deserved. I mean, if you want to see how a program needs to be run, from taking care of kids to running a practice to what they do in the weight room to what they do on the field, like her attention to detail and just kind of level of work is unmatched, and so very well deserved. And I'm really excited for her because I know how hard she works for her kids and her program, and I know how hard they work for her. So very, very cool that she was able to be recognized. And
we learned what a first serve. We learned the beginning of volleyball matches first serve too from her.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also learned that spiking Vikings is not cool. I thought it was cool. Apparently.
Okay. But there's another mental note. All right.
Lesson learned there. And then on Friday, we hosted girls basketball, and Irving Nimitz came over to play. And during the varsity warmups, Irving Nimitz actually had one of their players go down. It was a medical emergency, stopped breathing. And Bryant Grice, our athletic trainer here, immediately jumped into action, began CPR, was able to bring her back. She is now stable. She's doing better. They ran some tests and all of those good things. I'm not going to get into diagnosis or anything like that, but I want to shout out Bryant Grice. I want to shout out Aaron Levels. I want to shout out Heather Woodman. All of those coaches were there, had a plan in place. Bryant jumped into action, and he saved a life. And so
wow.
That's, I mean, we talk about heroes and all of those things, and that dude's my hero. Because I mean, the fact that all of that training, all of those things that they get us to do as coaches, and all of those things that he harps on, he was able to show us why it's so important. And so just proud of him. And I'm so excited to hear that the young lady is doing well. And so, yeah, just proud of our people.
That's awesome stuff. Well, Coach, anything else before we sign off? Other athletic, you've mentioned all the sports that'll begin in the spring. Basketball is underway now. Then so many of these football players, it's so fun to be able to say, "Oh yeah, they're a baseball player. Oh yeah, they'll be
Yep.
playing basketball. Oh yeah, they'll transition to this and stuff." And so they are multi-sport athletes and of course student athletes. But
That's right. And it's all starting. I mean, basketball's going this week. They had a scrimmage on Saturday. They're playing this Friday. I mean, it's go time. Wrestling's got a tournament this weekend. I can't tell you how excited I am to get to these events and support all of our athletes. I love seeing our football guys play multiple sports, but I also love to go and learn some new athletes and get to learn some of our other kiddos. So it's an exciting time in North Arlington.
all right. Well, let's do one of these shows sometime in the spring semester just to see how the program's moving along, what the latest news is, and what the spring activity might be. Then, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Before we do that, I want you to come visit us, come hang out with us, and watch an off-season workout and all that. That way you
I
can.
would love to do that. Let
Yeah,
me know
yeah.
when the best time would be to experience one of those because right now my time is my own to a certain degree. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay.
I would love to do that.
We'll make it
Okay.
happen.
All
Awesome.
right. Well, until next time, I'm Bill Frawley with head football coach and Lamar High School athletic director Billy Skinner saying VFND.
VFND.